Yeah.
Are we sure?
No.
8. Is it 7 or 8? 7.
I just
Fuck, I don't know.
Fuck. Let's just.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sober Like Sober. This is episode 6, 7, or 8. We don't know. It's been a minute.
We're drug addicts.
Yeah, we're drug addicts. What's up, man? I'm Jay. What's up, Drew?
What's going on, brother?
Another day in paradise.
We recording?
Yep.
Nice.
You like that?
Nice. Welcome to Something Like Sober, everybody.
Boom. We're here again.
We got an interesting. We
got some stories to tell.
Going. Yeah.
We got some stories to tell the last week.
It's been a pretty eventful week, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What time did we start this? 10:01?
10:01.
Shit, I don't know, man. I'm getting lost, dude. My mind is all kinds of places right now.
You know, it's crazy, man. I've really been looking forward to putting this episode together with you because you and I both have a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
And one of the number one things we try and portray in this series is what our lives look like in sobriety and what are some of the obstacles that we face.
Yeah.
And how those kind of test our sobriety. Case in point, for you guys who don't know right now, Jay's undergoing a major surgery. I mean, not major.
It's major, dude.
I mean, it's
like
pretty
fucking
intensive.
open heart surgery, man.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting his shoulder worked on,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, but it's a pretty intensive thing. Like they're cutting you open, you're going under anesthesia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're re-sewing together tendons and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And again, for those who are listening who don't know, I mean, we're drug addicts. Jay used to do heroin.
Mm-hmm.
And, as you guys know, after surgery, you're prescribed a lot of pain pills.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that he and I are going back and forth over is, does he try and tough it out through the pain? Does he take the pain pills as prescribed, under the supervision of, his doctors and, his fellows at the house?
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things that the average person wouldn't really think twice about. Like, okay, they're giving me oxycodone or they're giving me, Tylenol 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And, we're just going to have to tough it out. But, what's your thought process look like around this? I mean, I know you're freaking out a little bit about it. I mean, as you should be.
Yeah, I'm freaking out in the terms of like, I don't know, like, of course, like you have I was, ego lifting weights, and over time it's just like gotten worse. And then it dislocated twice, 2-3 times. It's like, it's gotten worse. It's just gotten worse. And so it's like went to the surgeon. He's like, yeah, bro, we gotta, if you ever want to have kids and play with them and hold them above your head, you got to have this fixed kind of thing. And we did all the things like physical therapy. Could that work? And it's like, man, this thing it's whack. So, doing the surgery, but yeah, and I've been talking to you. I've been talking to a lot of people about it. Yeah. And I have an insight because I have a friend that tore his shoulder up, his labrum as well, and just had the surgery yesterday. And of course, like he calls me after the surgery. He's like, "Oh man, it's not gonna be that bad, man. It's all right." And then like 3:30 in the morning, he's like, "Bro, I'm going to the emergency room, dude." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And now I get up this morning and I'm talking to you about it, and I'm like, "Dude, I don't know, bro. Like,
is it even worth it?"
Well, the thing is, it's like normal people they get prescribed pain medication, and it says, yo, take this every 6 hours, take one every 6 hours. And they do that, and hopefully the pain subsides. And, like the thing that I think fools a lot of people is they're not going to be able to take all the pain away. It's to like get, when they have that scale, it's like a 0 to a 10.
Yeah.
And most people like us lie. We're like, oh, it's an 11, doc.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think their goal is to like get that down to like a 4 until like your body adjusts after like 3 or 4 days, and then typically you go back to Tylenol or something normal. My thing is like addicts they'll say take one every 6 hours, and we gonna take 2. You know what I mean? Like,
and then 6 hours we take 3.
Yeah, and then 3, or in between there, another hour goes by and we need another one. You know, and it's just like, because I think that little thing in our brain starts to get tricked with, and we start to feel that different thing that we like to feel, which I like say it's like a parallel with euphoria. It just changes you, and I mean, completely changes you who you are. And I mean, and once I have a taste of that, I don't know what that means. Like a normal person, they take that medicine prescribed for whatever 3 days, and then they move on with their life. And then for us, it's like that true allergy, I think, is something. But then again, you're faced with the fact that this is painful.
Yeah.
So where's the line with that? And I mean, like, dude, honestly, my mind is thinking like, if I don't have to do, I think even removing the option for me is my honestly right now where I'm sitting is my best bet, you know. But again, like if I put that into people's mind and say I'm in a bad accident, they're going, hey dude, don't give this dude anything at all because and then you suffer. So you have to like truly balance that out. And I think there's a true dialogue to have with your doctor, and also understand this. Doctors don't understand it either unless they have some type of like, you know, iron in the fire with it or have experienced it themselves.
Personally, yeah.
Right. So I don't know, man. I don't, with Eric's thing going on and dude, I mean, like my thing is like, okay, let's do it. There's a badass nerve blocker that they have, and that's supposed to like take away 90% of the pain for 5 days. I don't know if his is messed up or what, but obviously, you know, I believe him when he's like, dude, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And so my mind's like, should I just tough it out? And if it gets that bad, yeah, then go to the emergency room and have them like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm like tripping. And then I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing the surgery. You know what I mean? Like I'm going through like a whirlwind of like things of whether I should do it or not, because I've come too far for some dumb shit to like even throw me off a little bit. And I know this might sound minute because I've talked to several people who have had surgeries in recovery and they're fine and they did it the right way. But whatever's in my mind that's tripping me out about it as like something to look at, whether that's just
listen
like,
to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that good fear, bad fear? Is because there's a lot of truth to it, dude. I'm not gonna like, I don't want this to like ruin my life over something, over an injury.
Over something so petty, you know what I mean? And, you know, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't really understand about addiction. And this is the way that I am. And, you know, I feel like everybody's different in a sense. You know, some people, if they have, you know, I'm going to use alcohol in this sense. Like if somebody were to have, you know, one shot of vodka or one beer, then it's all downhill from there. Like the sky falls down and they wake up in a gutter 2 days later and it's crazy. But my allergy affects me some way different. It plays a trick on me to where I could probably have a shot of vodka and with the length of time that I've had sober, I could probably walk away and a couple hours later I would be like, look, I made it through that. I'm fine. Mm-hmm. And then the next day I would be like, you know what? My brain would tell me, it would say, you know what? You were able to take a shot of vodka yesterday and you were fine. So you can take a shot of vodka today.
Yeah.
And then that turns into 2 shots of vodka. And then next week I end up, you know, going out and partying. And then a month later, that's when I'm just like, you know what? I've been doing so well trying to manage this. I can kind of let my hair down a little bit and I can start partying.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the point that I'm making is that, you know, you never know. Like, I mean, you could take some pain pills as prescribed for, you know, a couple of days and then move on with your life. Yeah. And then that's always going to be back there. It's always like that crack in the foundation to where it's like, well, you know, I was able to manage those and it worked out all right.
Yeah.
And then a month down the road, it's just like, fuck, well, you know, if I was able to do that, maybe I can do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a scary thing. And, you know, you never know how you're going to react, you know, but on the flip side, you know, you can't just sit there and be in excruciating pain either.
No.
So, I mean, it's...
You got to figure out some type of balance in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just truth of it. And I don't know what that looks like. I do know it takes being completely transparent with your surgeon and your doctor.
Yeah.
And just to for them to know, because they're not going to understand it anyway. And I feel like that can go one extreme. Like they can be like, all right, well, then we're going to cut it out altogether. Mm-hmm. And then if it's bad, I don't know. So, but I just, like, I was up front from the start with them. And they're like, yo, bro, this is painful. You know, they told me that for sure. Like, and then of course I go like deep diving into like YouTube and on the internet. And some people are like, it's the worst thing ever. You know, and then some people are like, I didn't need any medication at all.
Yeah.
And then I talked to, you know, the anesthesiologist and all that. And they're like, dude, if the nerve blocker works correctly, which it should, we're professionals. Yeah. Like, I hope, dude.
I hope, but I mean, then, nothing's ever perfect.
Right. Then, and if that's the case, then you should be okay. You know? And so we'll see. But everybody's bodies are different, and people handle things different. Some people handle the anesthesia. That's funny.
Damn.
Different. So we'll see. I don't know, man. That's going to be interesting. So that's like, we have that stuff coming up that we'll talk to you guys about, because the next time you see us won't be it, because we have another recording coming up with a cool guest, Danielle, that has some time in recovery, and that's going to be interesting coming up
It's going to be a great
in a few days.
Episode, yeah.
So the next after that, you'll see me all jacked up. This brace is huge. It looks like I was in a fucking $18 wheeler accident, you know, like, and then flipped over. So we'll see. So it's like, literally, we're watching this video. You can see some cool stuff come out on the other side of it, or you might not see me here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Might just be Drew sitting. And if y'all ever see just Drew chilling, it ain't good.
Yeah, we've had problems, but
So
we'll have something to report to you guys soon on that. It'll be an interesting run.
yeah, that's coming up. And then we also have. I mean, do you want to talk about your stuff for a little bit? What's happened? What do you feel about that? I think you should.
Yeah.
I think it's about transparency and yeah. So let us know.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, I've got my own story, which is a little bit different. A little bit more on the negative side. It's in the line of work that I do, and especially where I live with you guys, everything's very high accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the points of that is if you ever see somebody who looks a little bit off, or somebody who maybe going through some stuff, or just seems different, then it's our responsibility, or it's the organization who I work for's responsibility to check in and make sure everything's okay. Mm-hmm. And for me, I was having an off week this week. Full disclosure, I wrecked my car. Mm-hmm. And it threw me for loops. But apparently, I just came off a little bit different than I usually do this week, which happens. Everyone has their good days and their bad days. In just this unlikely time of events, one person, apparently thought that I showed up differently at work. And the next day I ended up getting in a car accident, which, normal people would be like, okay, he's having a bad week. But when you work with addicts and alcoholics, somebody who's having a bad week and has that kind of, unfortunate series of events happen, you're just like, dude, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, it doesn't look.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look so good.
And for me, I'm already having a bad week, and so then when people come up to me and are just like, hey man, we need to talk, or you're like, dude, this is, especially when, people with authority are just like, dude, this doesn't look good. What's going on? Your first natural, reaction is to be defensive. And that's just natural because one, I'm already upset about, everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. And then two, it's just like, why don't you guys trust me more? Or like, I've been doing so well, like why am I getting this kind of, why am I being perceived like this? And, and God bless you, dude. You were the one that came up to me and shot me straight. And we're just like, hey man, like, I'm just checking in with you. I love you. This is what's going on. And, I care about you. If anything's going on, you can tell me. And, sure as shit, like, you and I live in a high accountability mm-hmm. house, and you were like, look, man, I just got to give you a UA just to be sure. And, fuck it, no problem.
Yeah.
When you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
And so, took a UA, passed it. Then I went into work, and, they were like, hey, you showed up kind of weird one day, you wrecked your car. We just need to make sure that you're straight. And, they sat me down there like, now here's your chance to talk to us if anything is going wrong. And, it's weird because even though nothing's going wrong, it just reminded me of the older days when things were going wrong. And, it's like your body kind of has like a flashback, or kind of snaps back to that feeling of like, oh, fuck. Like, oh, how do I get out of this? Or, what should I tell? What should I do? Well, how do I maneuver or manipulate my way out of this situation? And that's your first instinct. That's what my fucked up brain tells me to do. That's my alcoholic brain trying to sit there and trying to control the situation. And, really, it would have had a much stronger effect on me if I didn't have you as like my fucking like best friend and roommate and guy to kind of turn to, and the guys in the house, and having such a supportive group of people around me. And I took a step back and I said, Drew, look, this is everyone's job. Like, this is what people have to do. They're not coming down on you. They're trying to make sure you're okay. Mm-hmm. And that calmed me down a lot. That was one of those things where I was just like, look, it's not the world against you. It's the world being with you, mm-hmm. showing concern. And that really was just kind of, and I was just like, dude, let go and let God. Like, if this has to be happening to me for some kind of reason, maybe, I don't work a perfect program. I could have been unspiritual. I mean, I could have been losing touch of something, and this was something that needed to kind of give me a kick in the ass and snap back into it. And I don't know. I don't know what the whole purpose is, but I do believe in a higher power, and I believe that things happen for a reason. And I took a hard step back, and I readjusted myself, and I was completely open, completely transparent with you guys. I mean, shit, I took 4 drug tests in 5
Like 2
days.
days.
And,
Days.
and, I was very open and honest with everybody. And, sure enough, I mean, past out, there was nothing to be concerned about, but looking back at it, I'm glad that everyone was concerned, had that level of concern for me as they did.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it just goes to show that, I mean, if anything does go wrong, I mean, people do have my back.
Yeah.
And people do show concern for me. And that shows caring, not what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to come down on me. And so, I mean, it was a rough experience. I mean, no one likes getting in car accidents, and, I'm still dealing with that. And, it's just something that life, even in sobriety, everyone talks about how their life goes so well all the time and all these crazy miracles happen, and they do. But life isn't perfect. Life does. It throws bricks in your face, and you have to learn how to deal with it. Yeah. And, it would have been so easy for me to say, you know what, fuck this. Like, I'm out. I'm going to go get drunk because I deserve it after all this, things that I'm dealing with. But, I mean, you deal with life on life's terms. And looking back at it, I get to look back at that and say, man, you know what, dude? Like, that was a little test for me. And, thank God that, I had the support of you guys and, you especially. And I get to look back at that and say, you know what, man, this is one story I at least get to tell, and I'm sober to tell it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's just a perfect example how life is not always perfect. Life will throw you speed bumps and twists and turns. And, it goes to show that you do need to be open and honest about everything that's going on with you. That's why 10-stepping with, fellow addicts or alcoholics are so important. That's why prayer is so important. And, that's why, staying in touch with those close to you is it's so important, because it's so easy for your mind to twist things and try and trick you and to play, the savior role when in reality, it's leading you down a very dangerous path. And so, that's pretty much what I've got, man. That's my story for the week, other than, finding a little toy in the back of my car this morning.
Yeah, that was funny too, man. That's a funny story. I think when we're in this position, like, we have to, it's weird because we always, we use the word like cautiously optimistic a lot, because the odds are not forever or whatever soever in our favor.
Absolutely.
Whatever, they're not. So you have to side with error or caution a lot. Like, that's just how it goes. And so it's because we don't. The trick is the truth is that we don't negotiate with the disease of addiction ever. And so, like, if you ever allow, even if it's not true, and you allow that part to just kind of float on by, then you could be facing something that's worse down the road. So here's my experience with that. Is the manager prior to you was in the same situation, and I could have caught it, and not say, but this was when it was actually true.
Yeah, I was there.
I could have caught it like 4 days before, and I saw it, and I saw the behavior change. I mean, it was like, dude, like, isolated in the room, like, it was like not. I didn't see them at all. It was really weird. Door shut all the time. Wasn't in the community.
Asleep. Yeah.
Sleeping. It was weird. He wasn't sick. What I mean? It wasn't like, it wasn't nothing going around or. And I knew that, and I didn't go with my instincts.
You gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Give him the benefit of the doubt, and I get, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, because you don't also want to be wrong, and it's also a weird conversation. It's awkward. No matter what, it's gonna be awkward. That's just how that is. You know? And so I had that experience too, and it was like, well, we could have skipped a lot of the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the ambulance and the fire truck and the hospital visits, and they're ripping out the IVs and running
around in a diaper.
St. David's, like, seriously. And then the 8 hours that went into getting them back into treatment or detox, all that could have been avoided. And you think about that in your head, And so it's like I told myself too, going forward, no matter what, we got to do the right thing on this. And that was a really obvious situation looking back, and I guess everything, hindsight's 20/20. On anything. And so you got to side with caution, and then you get through it. And the difference is like, you as going through it can take it one or two ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could have taken it the other way and gotten real pissed off and resentful about it and said, fuck this, and moved on. And either you move on and continue to do the things you do and things are good, or you have an excuse to, like, fall into alcoholism. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
Like you said, I deserve it, and more so like, fuck this. You give it the fuck it's real quick. And if that happens, dude,
it's done.
The disease wins, dude.
Yep.
And then you're back in this like roller coaster of events. So like, good for you on
And
handling that.
And well, I mean, good for you on handling that. And that's the perfect example for people out there who are concerned about others. Like, I mean, like, you came up to me and you were like, hey man, like, and you and I are close enough.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've got a brotherhood between the two of us. And you came up to me and you were just like, look, man to man, this is going to be kind of awkward, but I have to check.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't hold that against you because, I mean, I have the same obligation to you that you have to me.
Yeah, sure.
And, I mean, as managers, like, I mean, that's our job.
Mm-hmm.
And, you have a duty to make sure that everyone else in that house is safe as well. And so, I mean, no matter how awkward it is, you came up to me and you man to man, and you're just like, hey man, like I got to check, I got to make sure. And dude, I didn't hold that against, anybody. I mean, that is, if anything, that shows you willing to walk through that awkwardness to make sure that I'm okay. Mm-hmm. And, you and I have both had those conversations. I've come to you and said, I'm concerned about you taking medication.
That was a great conversation too.
And I was like, no matter what, I've got your back.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we'll fight through any obstacle together.
Yeah.
And, knowing that you have that kind of connection with somebody, I think it brings you closer. Having those awkward conversations with somebody.
And they're awkward sometimes. And it's like, they shouldn't be, but they still are.
Yeah.
Like with the pain medicine conversation, you came to me. And this was because I've been transparent with my doctor visits and what's going on. And the last thing I wanted to do is have surgery,
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather be in the weight room right now. It's part of my mental health. And
Mm-hmm.
so to have that conversation, like even like, I don't know, a month out, and you coming to me, hey man, I'm concerned about this. And it was good to have that conversation. And even though like I could feel myself like getting, like there's like ups and downs and like emotionally, I just felt my like, your blood temperature starts rising down, like, oh, how dare this guy? That's just funny how our egos seriously work. It's like,
ego,
this guy's
man.
really having this fucking conversation with me?
Yeah.
Like, after I do all this and whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works, but and truly, like, it's helped me down the road even to be right now because I don't know, like, because initially I'm like, fuck it, dude, I'm going to get these things and it's all going to be good. But again, dude, it's like, introduce pain into it, the actual pain, and then like let the disease like side with pain, like let it make a friend in that for a second, and makes it where it's justifiable. Like, right? I was like, dude, nah, you just had surgery. You're in pain.
You
need me, and then these diseases, like, I can help with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How that it can really get lost in translation inside of that whole thing, whole
can.
progress. So like to be able to step back before it's all happened. Like, let's put all the facts on the table. Here's this road. Here's how it can go. Now make your decision. And honestly, dude, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's worth it to me. I really don't at this point.
Yeah.
And like, and if that's fear, that's fine. And if I have to go through some, 4 days of hell of pain, I went through a lot more days of hell and like withdrawal, dog.
Yeah.
I'm being serious.
Detox,
like the worst ever. Like I don't wish that withdrawal process on absolutely nobody, dude.
Yeah.
Especially the last one I came from, right? It was like 30 something days. Losing vision.
You almost lost an eye.
Dude, seriously. Eye patch.
Yeah.
Not sleeping for 20 days or 15 days straight. I mean, it was bad. Bones. I would, if I had a gun, and I know it sounds wild, I would have blown my brains out. Like, I could have made that make sense,
Yeah.
So, stepping back, I'm like 4 days, and then your body adjusts to a little bit of like, how your body's a miracle. Your body is it's a fabulous thing. Yeah. So, I'm going to weigh those options, and then I'm going to have another serious conversation with my surgeon, like prior to them rolling me in, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, hold on, before you put that, whatever that is in that, you know, let's talk about this. Like, what's this going to be like? And I need y'all to be on call 24/7 for me only. We'll see how that goes, but I'm going to try. I just think it's like, I'm going to really try to not, and if it comes down to it, we'll make that decision later, but I really don't want to if I don't have to. So, anyways, it's just funny how all this works, and we're in real life now, and this is how it looks like, and it's, over a year into it, and I just don't want to. I'm not willing to throw it away.
And that's the craziest thing because I mean, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass here, but I mean, when it comes to being spiritually fit working a program. I mean, there are very few people who I see work a program as well as you. Like, I mean, you manage a sober house. Like, I mean, you've got over a year of sobriety. Like, you go to church every Sunday. You know, you work on your mental health. I know you meditate every morning. You know, I know that, like, I mean, you always lead by example through your own actions. And that just goes to show that, like, but there are still people out there, you know, who are working a better program.
I was one of those. This is what I'm trying to say too.
Yeah.
What you're keep going, but yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there are people out there who have years of sobriety. I mean, you know, decades even. And you know, I mean, relapse isn't one of those things where it happens to people only under a year of sobriety. It happens to fucking everybody. I mean, fucking everybody. I mean, I've been to treatment with guys who had 10, 15 years of sobriety. And they said, you know what, fuck it. There was just one slip one day where I just thought I had it. And, you know, I mean, it's one of those things where once you introduce that substance to your body, it doesn't matter if it's been 50 years or not. I mean, you know, not to quote the big book, but, you know, the big book has a story about it. It's the man of 55 years. You know, he, you know, started his career, realized he was an alcoholic, quit drinking. 55 years later, after he retired, or, you know, when he's 55 or so, whatever, retires, you know, many years later and starts drinking, and he's dead in 4 years or dead in 2 years or something. I need, you know, I don't know exactly.
We'll just change the story. I mean, it doesn't really get the context yet.
But, you know, I mean, you know, that shit happens. And, you know, it's scary. And that's just, and, you know, the reason I'm shining such a strong light on it is because there's so many people out there, and especially people listening, that think that, okay, it's been this long now, I've got it. Or it's been this long now, and they build up this false sense of confidence to where they're just like, okay, dude, look, I mean, I've done this well. I've got all these things in place. And, you know, myself included, I'm like, I work in treatment, for God's sakes. You know, I live in a sober house, for God's sakes. Like, my roommate is fucking, you know, leading by example, and one of the guys I trust most in this world. I've got a great family, you know, I've got a sponsor, and, you know, I'm in contact with all these people. What could go wrong? And sure as shit, I mean, a lot very quickly. You know.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about, that's how I know, you know, it's like, I know when people come out of treatment and then they get into their transitional living situation and they want to get out of there as fast as possible. And I think I've had enough, like, it's not wisdom, it's experience now to where I can, like, take and I'm able to see things and, like, okay, let's look at this. There's something to it. Can I apply it to my life and my world? And there is now. I think I'm, like, just at a point in my life where I've been through enough to be like, this is worth it. And so, like, for people trying to get out, I got to get back on my own as quick as possible. 3 months is all I need, whatever. Like, they're looking at it so wrong.
Exactly.
Because the point is what you're pointing out right now is, like, we're going through this stuff sober, and dude, there can't be a better place surrounded by great people to go through these things with. You know what I mean? So that's how I know, like, no matter what, I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because I need all this, right? You know, like, I didn't know this stuff was going to happen, and this stuff is going to happen outside of that. Yeah. But I'm so happy. Like, I need as much time as I can. The more time that I can, like, put together and go through experiences with this, the better for me, because I gain something from those now. You know, it's not the idea that I got to get out of here as fast as possible is crazy to me now, and that wasn't before. So what I'm saying is, you're not crazy. I've been there. Yeah, you know, and I've been in your mindset, but I think I've just grown to a point now where I can be thankful for these moments, and, like, you going through the things you have, you know, that's an experience to tell, to show everybody. And, like,
exactly,
will you be able to change someone's life with it immediately? I don't know, probably not, but can you plant a seed and then they look back? Absolutely. And who knows, that story might be something that, like, springboards them later on in life. And that's kind of our point. It's like, we don't make an immediate effect on people. I don't gain an immediate effect from others, but it does plant a seed to where I'm like, damn, that was right. Yeah. There's growth in that. And if I can grab onto that growth now early and be like, okay, let's apply that now, then I start growing in real time versus down the road. You know what I mean? So like, dude, I'm grateful, you know, to be in a place with us where we're at, and to have the people that we do, and to have you as an accountability partner, and, like, just to have those conversations that are hard, even though my ego hates it. Yeah. You know, but it's like, dude, it took, you know, like you said, after that conversation you had with me, and I was like, you know, even my ego was like, hey, Drew, you know, I'll tell you how my ego plays. Like, hey, Drew, you know, I made, like, a slick comment, and that's what I do. I'll be like, dude, you know, you need to work on your approach. You know, like, I say stupid shit like that because my ego, like, feels like it needs to, like, For what? For what?
Yeah.
Because you're doing the right thing, you know. And like you told me, man, that was hard for me to do.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to come in here and talk to you like that. And
Yeah.
like, and after I like, you know, give myself 10 minutes to like, okay. And I realized that like that
Yeah.
was hard for Drew to come in there and be like, because he wasn't. It's not. I take it as like you're pointing out flaws in me, you know, and like,
Yeah.
you don't believe in me.
You touch a
And,
nerve.
Yeah, yeah. And the truth is like, okay, once I can like just sit with it for a second and like be and always find gratitude, always. And then all of a sudden it makes sense. I'm like, damn, dude, that's a friend. You know,
Yeah.
like those are the people you need in your life, like you know,
Yeah.
that you need that. Because otherwise people just like, you know, there's even guys around the house. So if I need someone to co-sign my shit, that's easy. I sit in the living room around a certain amount of people, and they're going to be like on my side, and that's not what you need all the time. You need someone like, oh man, that's actually hard, or like, this is what it could look like, and so that's beautiful. Because
Exactly.
that's what friendship is
That's
about.
what friendship is, man. It's getting through the nitty gritty shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, yeah, dude, we have, I mean, substantially more good times than, you know, awkward conversations.
Yeah.
But, you know, you need to know that person's always got your back no matter what. And, you know, it's crazy because, you know, and this applies to people who, I mean, when you know, people outside of addiction, you know, when you're talking to friends about money, or you're talking to friends about relationships, or, you know, you're talking about friends to, you know, maybe they're doing something, they're fucking up in life, and, you know, you need to have that conversation with them. And, you know, us as, you know, addicts, I mean, we seek self-validation, or not self-validation, but external validation. And like you were saying, like, you know, it'd be really easy to, you know, have somebody co-sign your shit. You know, that feels safe to us.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're buying insurance policies, you know, by going out and having these guys that we know that, you know, all right, well, this guy's going to back me up no matter what. He's never going to second guess me about anything. So I want to bring him in close.
Of course.
You know, to make sure that, like, if anybody does shine a microscope on me, this guy's going to back me up and say, you know, no matter what, you know, I'm good.
Yeah, we're good.
And
should do it.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's again, that's our disease. It's our disease it's manipulating us into manipulating others. And, you know, that's the spooky thing on how, like, you just have to be so on top of your shit. But not only that, you need to be able to ask for help. You need to be able to go and talk to other people and get that second opinion from someone who you know is going to tell you the right answer. Because we ourselves, we need to be checked from time to time. Or else, you know, I mean, we start running wild.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
I mean, and what you're saying is too is like, you can apply this to everyday life.
Yeah.
Like, and people who aren't addicts and alcoholics need to practice these things too, because it happens in the world all the time.
Yeah.
They just like, this is the thing is like, we've had the drugs and alcohol removed. We're just like, now we're working on ourselves as individuals, like truly in a really, like a really deep way. Everybody can benefit from just being like, from having these conversations. Like, how many times, if you're not an addict, alcoholic, you're listening to this, like, or because your family member is going through it, or you just wanting to learn more about our lives, like, think about your own life for a minute. Like,
yeah.
Are you having those hard conversations, or because we've like, the world has changed so much to where we think that, you know, people are being rude by bringing these things up. Or like, you know, you all of a sudden you notice like you don't really like that person as much, and they're not coming at you as a personal attack. They're just honest people, you know, and like, yeah, their delivery might suck sometimes, or like they could handle it different by approaching you in a one-on-one situation. But like, where in your life, you know, could you be having these conversations to better yourself, your family, whatever that looks like? And it happens all the time. We're just like at a point in our lives to where we're constantly looking inside of ourselves. You know, we're taking daily inventory of ourselves. We're looking at our day at nighttime and seeing like, where are we selfish? How had fear cropped up? Like, people need to like, they could apply this to their lives, and it would help them a lot, like in general. And like, we're talking about just like general like counseling sessions with ourselves now to like look internally. And most people don't do that. You know, they stay surface level, and their lives stay very surface level, and they say, well, we're just not emotional people. And well, you're not fucking willing to be emotional.
Exactly.
You know, you're not willing to like look down in yourself to where like, oh, that feeling kind of feels weird. What do I do with it? You know? So like, I'm serious. Like, if once you remove the drugs and alcohol, we're on a path now to like really trying to change ourselves for the better. And it's like, it hides under the disease, but like truly we're just trying to be better people at this point.
Yeah.
And how can we do that? Everybody can do that.
Yeah.
This is not like that. Now we're on a path in life to like really changing ourselves and lives and around others. And like you'll notice like your people that you hang out with change. Your circle is going to change, your morals, and not saying you lose your moral, but they just like they develop around like internal great feeling, you know, like like things that should really shift perspective. And I don't mean shift perspective in the mind, I mean in the heart. And no, that's important, man. And I think people need to like grab onto that more because that's the good stuff.
Yeah.
And so if people can just start doing that, great, you know.
And you know, it's amazing because, you know, Patrick Hensley told me, you know, he came to and did an H&I last night, and
at Hartwell, yeah. Okay.
And you know, he was telling, you know, one of the things that really struck me was, you know, he was telling a story and he was describing the feeling that you get, like when in his case when he drinks a 2-liter cup of tequila, and he was just like, you know, I'd be on the verge of shakes and I'm starting to get anxious and I'm running back to my place to go get that drink, and he was just like, I would just guzzle tequila, and when I put it down I just had this feeling of just
yeah,
like just, and for if you're addicted to meth or heroin or whatever, it's that first like right when you get that first shot or that first hit, it's just
it's relief. It's like the world calms.
And what most people don't understand is that what we're doing right now in terms of trying to better ourselves, and what you were just describing, is how we get that sense now. It's how we get that same satisfaction by trying to better ourselves, live by better principles, by being better people, and removing that from our bodies. And we get that. I mean, not as intense, and not quite as fast, but we do get the same relief over time.
Yeah.
Through, working that program, and by, again, checking ourselves, going through those awkward moments and becoming better people and finding ourselves on a more deeper emotional level.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's remarkable, man. It's another story real quick that, I want to share with, earlier this week, just to kind of go on top of the, crazy shit that happened to me this week. I got a call from an ex-girlfriend. I haven't even told you this yet.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I'm not going to say any names.
But we have different schedules, too.
Yeah.
I got to understand. Me and Drew typically catch up on Fridays, Saturday, and really Sunday.
Yeah.
We have, like, deep one-on-one. We're just, we're good friends, and we talk about good
shit.
Dude, it's legit. That's all I'll say. It's legit.
And, I got a call from an ex-girlfriend, and she said, hey, I saw your podcast. And she was just like, because she and I were both alcoholics together when we dated. And, I didn't know I was an alcoholic at the time. She did. And, she had relapsed. And this was before I even knew what alcoholism was. I just thought that I liked to party and I was a heavy drinker. And, every excuse in the book. And she called me and she said, I really, I was really impressed by, your story or whatnot. And she was like, I've been to treatment, several times as well. And she goes, I just want you to know that, I'm doing really well. And, I got a dog, and, we caught up for like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. And, I told her a little bit about my experience, like the treatment centers that I had been through, like what I'm doing now, managing a house with you. And, it was a great, healthy conversation. Next day, she sends me a video and was just like, hey, I fucking relapsed. I'm going back to treatment. And I was just like,
yeah.
It's just like, you have like a conversation. I had no idea listening to, maybe she had already relapsed and she was trying to reach out for help. I don't know, but it just goes to show like one day is completely different than the next.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy shit. Like, how did I not pick up on that? How did I not realize? And, I kind of look at myself as like, usually I can tell, if somebody's off the rails, usually like my spidey senses go up.
Yeah, they come up, don't they?
And I'm just like, something's not juju in here.
Yeah.
Like something's not right.
Yeah.
And it just didn't this time. And maybe I was caught because it was an ex-girlfriend or something. And I was like, ooh.
Well, when emotion gets involved, it's harder.
Yeah. And, I was like, let me make sure my hair looks good while I talk on the phone, but, it was just crazy. And I was just like, what happened? What's going on? She was like, I just slipped one more time.
Yeah.
And, it's spooky that way. And that was just another prime example of like, you know, I could have got dug deeper and I could have been like, are you really okay? You know, is there anything you really want to talk about? Like, you know, I mean, do you need help in any way? And looking back at like what happened to me earlier this week was just, that was people being supportive. And, you know, I mean, that was people coming in and showing concern for me. And it's just like, dude, I mean, she doesn't have, or I don't know this for a fact or not, but I'm assuming she doesn't have all the safety nets in place that I do. And, you know, it's just because I give myself so much credit for like, oh, you know, I'm almost 8 months sober. Look how well I'm doing. It's not just me, man. It takes a village, dude. It's everybody around me keeping me, you know, on the straight and narrow. And so it's just, you know, it's a spooky disease, man. And, you know, people do slip all the time, no matter how well they're doing.
Yeah. Well, it's like this too. And we talked about this with Russell. Last time we said, where we sat down, was it a week ago, 2 weeks ago? I don't know. We sat down with Russell, and it's the people, man. It's the true, that's what I truly believe. It's like the people are that important, right? So if you got to sit down and ask somebody what they're doing, what their life looks like, and you know, if you ask them, well, I was doing so well for 6 months. Okay, well, what were you doing during those 6 months? And it's typically they like ingrain themselves within community and people, and like-minded people was part of what they were doing. And then they get away from that, you know, eventually. But it's like we have to remain close to each other. You know, it's like a video game. When you get close to the nucleus of something, your power bar goes up and you regain energy. And the more further you get away from that, it goes down. You got to come back and recharge. So like the more you can recharge, more you reach home base again. You know, that happens more often, and you got to do that. You're never going to get away from that. If you do, eventually shit's going to get weird, because like, think about it. Like if you're able to be around like-minded people, you know, in terms of like, we carry this energy, we know about each other, we're speaking experience from you and me with each other, we're gaining from that. And say you get away from that around other people in the world, they don't have that. So they're not so understanding. So you don't share as much. You're trying to like, and their problems look a little bit different, because they don't go home, they don't have a fucked up situation happen and then go get fucked up over it, you know? So, and you can't have those conversations with them. So obviously, like, your mindset's going to get ingrained into that new community of things, and it's just not your truth, you know? Like, you got to come back to home base, like, you know, and the more often you do that, the better. And so, like, the cool thing with that conversation is, and who knows what the God situation looks like. Yeah. But like through doing this podcast, and you network and you meet other people, and now you know one strong female at least that we've had on this podcast. You'll know another one here, and once we do another one, and then you network. Hey, if you're really interested, can I hook you up with this person? And that way, you know, you got two females and they're sharing their experience together, and that you never know how they can help. Like that's what the cool thing about God does. He's like plants these little seeds, dude, and like gives us these little opportunities. And you know, who knows, like how you'll be able to help that person in the future. Is like, hey, I personally can only give you so much perspective because I'm a dude, and yeah, we have some of the same problems, but there's a lot more that this female can do for you. Right? Do you mind if I give you her number? And then, hey, I'm gonna hook you. You know what I mean? Like that's what this whole thing's about, dude. And the more we do that, it's people. That's the 12 step in this. It's helping other people. How do we do that? We connect them, you know, to others. The more we do that, the more we get away from this like stigma of this like, this is what this is. It's weird. Like we expand it as much as possible, and that's the point. Like, who knows, dude? In that situation, if God wasn't preparing you for something down the road, because most likely she's gonna reach out to you again, and you're like, hey, I really want. If you're really serious about this, or I'm not saying you're not, but like, there's some really cool connects that we have down here. Some strong women in this program. Do you mind? You know, would you be interested in like talking to them? Connecting, a good sponsor. You know, women sponsors. I don't know. They seem hard to find for me. I just don't see them around as much. So like, nothing against the women, but like, we know some strong people. Hook them up. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Who knows what God was doing? Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, you plant seeds. I mean, I have no idea, you know, where it's going to go. I have no idea what it's going to lead to, but you know, somewhere inevitably down the road, it's going to affect somebody. Sure. And, you know, I mean, all of our actions do. I mean, you know, if you want to, you know, get into the butterfly effect or whatever, but you know, but Ashton Kutcher.
But I mean, it's just crazy. And, you know, even already, like, I mean, through this podcast, I mean, how many people have reached out to us and just shared a little bit about their stories and just said, you know, hey, really love what you guys are doing. You know, I'm been sober for X amount of time now, and you know, it's going really well, or yada yada, or I'm not having such a good time. And,
life sucks. Yeah, like I know, man. You know,
been there. Cool thing. Been there. Yeah. You know, I mean, shit. How many times have you been to detox?
Oh shit.
8. 8. I've been I've been probably close to 6, 7.
Yeah, 8, 6 treatment 6 times.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been to detox way more than I've been to treatment, but treatment 4. So I mean, we've been down that road. We played that ball game.
Oh yeah,
and I mean,
shit, bro.
yeah, I mean, never fucking.
But I've said that before.
Yeah.
Now, if you asked me that when I got sober, I'd be like, I'm tired of that shit.
I'm tired of that shit.
It's just funny. Yeah.
Not gonna happen. But I mean, it's just like we can connect on a deeper level with people who are going through that shit because we fucking lived it. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but I mean, multiple times.
That's why I said we're in the bonus rounds now.
Yeah.
The lives are over with. You know, eventually you're gonna run into like I said, I just feel like I'm on the verge of death with this shit. So we're in the bonus rounds now. You gotta take advantage of it.
And but it's crazy how you say that because how lucky we are to have been able to make it this far is, I mean, dude, like statistics aside, like, I mean, it's a miracle. Most people who leave treatment and relapse don't make it back.
Yeah.
And, and that's one of those things you said, I feel like I'm flirting with death here because, I mean, you fucking are. And for people who aren't addicts or alcoholics just don't understand that because it's like, dude, one bad shot and you're done. You're done. And, for me, alcohol is a little bit different. It's more of a slow fucking killer, but who knows?
But who knows? You get behind the wheel of a car and you're done. Or that's what I'm saying. It can look different. You drive drunk, bro, and you kill somebody, you go to prison for life. Yeah. That's what alcohol can do.
Exactly. And, it's just, it's amazing how, like, these little things that people take for granted have such huge impacts on our lives. I mean, literally, like, taking prescription medication or, I mean, for fuck's sake, if I were to go to a ball game and have one fucking beer, like that small little thing turns into a chain of events that could literally, I mean, not alter our lives, not fuck us up for a month or two. Like, I mean, end them. Yeah. It's death.
It's death.
So, I mean, it's serious.
And that's the truth of it. And I know it sounds scary. And then it's also like, I've been to the rooms where this is like preached heavily and it's like you're gonna fucking die. You know what I mean? And the truth is, that's the scary part. It is, but then for whatever reason, it's such like a turn up. When I've heard people, and I've said it too many a times, but that is like the truth. Like, it will get really bad, and then you're scratching and clawing your way out of this thing, which is wild, man, and it gets super wild.
And I don't know if these statistics are right or not. I've heard a lot of different ones, but they're all somewhat relatively the same. It's like when you're in treatment, I had a counselor tell me, look around this room, say there's 20 people in there, within a year, 5 of these people will be dead. Yeah. And 2 of them are going to actually make it. The other handful of people are going to be back in these rooms, within a year. Yep. And it's like the odds of being successful in this thing are so minuscule. They're so small. Yeah. And the death rate's so high that it's just, I mean, you have
those statistics and that's the thing is like, I don't know, how they do statistics. It's like, oh, we took 100 clients and then out of those 100, this is what it looks like. But if you really go around the room and look around, it's pretty spot on too. Yeah. It's like, dude, it's like, I don't even know. It's like 8-9% maybe at the height of it. It's 9% that make it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think it's like, that might even be like 9% stay sober after or stay sober up to a year or something. And after that, they say it gets better. Fuck, I don't know, dude. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, I say that because the year mark, I hit that. And James, this dude at our house ain't bullshit. And he's like, oh yeah, the first year is really great. The second year sucks. and there's what's funny is there is truth behind it. It is because absolutely. All the things start happening so fast, your life gets together and God starts happening really in that first year. Things start changing. Your family's like, you're talking to your family more. You're like enjoying the sunlight, like shit more. You don't bury yourself in your home. So you're like experiencing life again. There's like this honesty piece that comes with it and it makes sense. And then all of a sudden you hit your second year and it's like, okay, you're in this like, just chill moment of life. It's not chill, but it's like you're going through life, and the big thing, there's not like these big checkpoint markers anymore, right? That are happening to you, and so you're having to deal with that. Because like think of an addict, alcoholic, like we're like a lot of instant gratification. So in that first year, it's really kind of like it's mellowed to like what we like, like we like, oh boom, awesome, like checkpoint, da-da-ding, like awesome, like the Mario song playing in the background. You're like, dum, 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 and you're liking it, And the second year, those things like there are bigger gaps in between like these big things that happen in your life. So like, I think there should be like even a cool study done on that second year. There's something about that second year that's like, I think if you once you get through the second year of it and you've had that experience with like all the fast things, now not so fast things, if you get to that third year, okay, I'm truly ingrained of like how this whole process looks from the very early of it where it's fast to the slow part of it. And then, I got that average out. Okay, I'm cool with life and this is what I know I got to do. And here's kind of what it looks like. But I'm telling you, dude, that there's a lot of shit that happens from that second to that third year.
I feel like the first year is really kind of like a grace period. Like it's like, it's like you're in your first year of sobriety and you kind of almost get to use that as an excuse. Sure. Like show yourself a little extra grace. Yeah. Like find a get well job. Take it easy on yourself. You're getting pats on the back from everybody.
Yeah, you're the Matta boys.
Like, everybody's like, dude, really proud of you. Like, you made it, this far. Second year, it's like all that shit goes away. It's like, okay, now real life happens. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, now I can't use sobriety as like a, crutch anymore. It's like, I need to start doing life 100% again. Yeah. It's like, all right, I need to start, I can't use like, oh, well, I'm 14 months sober. I need to take it easy today. Yeah, it's like, I need to go and do my job. I need to go and like, live life.
And not expect these fucking like
gratification or,
right. The Matta boys or whatever you're talking about, these pats on the back. Yeah. Not expecting that because you're just like ingrained with fucking 6 billion people doing it's like, the same all right, shit.
Now it's time to really get my shit together. Mm-hmm. It's like, I actually have to live life, still practice all these principles, but I have to live life like a regular, normal adult now. And it's just like, I can't give myself, quite as much grace as I did in the past just because, I'm a real adult. I'm a real contributing member of society now.
I pay my taxes.
Yeah, I pay my taxes, and shit's got to get done. Yeah, so it's always I agree. I think some kind of a study looking at what that second year looks like would be really interesting.
Yeah, versus the first. There's something to it, man. And how I know that is because the first time I got sober, I remember a mentor of mine that I really looked up to told me that. He was like, "Oh man, that first year is easy." He's like, "Second one, good luck." He's fine. And again, he was like, he was joking about it, but it was just like the James thing. It's like he was joking, but I experienced it, and that motherfucker wasn't joking. Really. Like it was kind of like a fucking passive aggressive comedy. Like, you know what I mean? And I get that now. So it's like now in my head, it's like, yo, this second year. Like still fire underneath your ass has to be, and so like, and I hope that we get to continue. Like that's another point of the podcast is like we continue to show you like we came in this real early, and then hopefully we look up and you're getting to see that process and getting to see some of these trials and shit that we do face because we're trying to be extremely authentic and genuine, and sometimes it sucks. Yeah. But like if we get to that, hopefully this shit runs and we're like 3 years into it, and then the point is like, can something grab onto like our like progression and even like sitting in the valleys and then going back to like airplane mode a little bit, like can you grab something from that and use it to apply to your life from our mistakes and then from some of the cool things that have happened, so like that's the point of it all too, and like to make this shit so not so much like of a I don't know stigma around addiction, right? And it's getting better in the world, but like there's not as much like authenticity I think out there from people who are willing to sit down and talk about the shit that you truly go through. All they see is like the dude sitting in the corner fucking shooting meth or dope, or the guy like hiding in his house drinking all day trying to like mask this thing and become like this successful person. They see that, and then they see the other side. He looks better physically. They don't see all the shit that goes on in between or even afterwards, right? It's like, oh, he's bad, now he's good. There's it's not like that. The spectrum looks a lot different. Yeah, it's gradual in that sense. So
well, in 2 years when we have 1 million followers, we'll touch back on this, and we'll let you guys know what the second year looks like.
So. And that's kind of cool about the addiction thing too. Is there's this like underground part to it. I wish it was more out there, and I don't know if it'll ever be, and that's okay if it's not. But it's like, how do we help people in the process of that? Yeah, because maybe one day it is. It's known well thing. I don't know, but. Until then, we'll be trying to like feed you with more of this. Before we go, there's a story. We were going to drop off Drew's Turo car.
Oh, Jesus!
Today, and I'm on the phone, just kind of following Drew as he's fucking weaving in and out. Like went to the end of this driveway. I was like, "What the fuck is this dude doing?" Anyway, we pull up into this like parking lot with this long-haired, haggard-ass looking guy. He's got like keys in the mailbox. It's Turo. Like they got like multiple cars. They're running like pretty much a Hertz like on the side. And so Drew's coming to take this car back because he wrecked his for whatever reason. He gets out of the car, and I'm on the phone, and I roll down my window. I was like, dude, there's a fucking dildo in here. I was like, bro, are you fucking with me right now? Like, he's returning this car. He's looking through it to make sure everything's clean out of it, and he finds this dildo in the bag. And so there's two things. It's like, this is really shitty luck, or something weird's going on with Drew
that I don't know about.
And if that's your life, cool, man. I'm like, I don't know if this is it. Anyway, and so Drew's like, no, dude, it's fucking for real. There's a dildo back here. And so Drew's tripping in his mind. He's about to meet Hagrid over here to return these fucking keys, dude. And Drew goes up to the dude and is like,
oh, I went up to, well, so I'm sitting there cleaning out my car. Like, I'm just feeling under the seats, making sure I didn't drop anything. And I mean, sure as shit, in this rental car, in the back seat, I put my hand under the fucking seat and I just feel this like rubbery thing and I pull it out and it's this massive cock. And I just lose it. I flip out. Like, I'm just like, dude, I don't know where that's been. I don't want to know. And I sit there and I run up and I tell you, and then I have to go talk to the guy who takes keys. And I'm like, look, man, I just wanted you to hear it from me. All right, just so you know it's not mine.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and I told him, I was like, dude, there's a big dildo in the back of the car and I don't know what to do. And he goes, dude, shut the fuck up. And I was just like, look, here are the keys, man. I got to go.
That's funny.
But yeah, so just good times.
Good times, man. That's all I got, dude. You run it.
Absolutely. Guys, want to thank y'all so much for listening to the podcast. We really value all y'all's input. Please leave us some comments on our Instagram page at somethingLikeSober.com. Something Like Sober. You can check us out on YouTube and Spotify. Again, this is Drew Aston. This is my good buddy Jay Spitzer. We're Something Like Sober. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, see y'all.
We're out.